At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right, everybody. It's Tuesday, May 23rd. For those of you way down the road watching this, you might be a little bit behind, but yeah, this is 2023. We got some big news. Let's kick it off, right? 3, 2, 1. Yo! Razorback fans, welcome. Welcome. We've got some really big news. We've been waiting on it. We knew it was going to happen. We knew it was any moment. Ron Holland finally let out of his national letter of intent. He's done with the NLI with the University of Texas. This is a big one. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit more. Of course, we're going to do a little bit of Razorback baseball in the SEC tournament. We're going to talk about that and I don't know, whatever else you guys want to talk about. This is obviously mostly about Ron Holland. I had sat down here. I've got some new video editing software downloaded, and I've been playing around with it, trying to get everything straightened out. And yeah, make sure this is all refreshed here. Okay, first off, shout out, of course, to Patreon supporters. If you guys, if you want to join Patreon, the link is provided for you down below. But we have a new scroll you could see there now. We got the intro screen we're scrolling the names a little bit differently. So if you guys didn't notice that, and we also added a new tier, the $20 and up tier. We have, for the month of April, we had 3. And we'll see what that looks like in the month of May, but that's a brand new tier. Now, it's not available if you go to the Patreon screen. It's not there. You'll just see that $4 tier, but that's for people who are giving more than $4. They're giving more than $8. They're doing $20 plus, so I do appreciate all of you guys, anybody who donates to the page. All right, we got to do an odd soul poll. How about this? Oh, yeah, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. We didn't do a stream on Monday, just really with all the issues going on with the software and all the problems I was having yesterday. I wasn't able to go live. I know this is a random Tuesday, so a lot of you that are watching this later are like, wait a minute, what the hell, Ty? You went live on Tuesday. Remember, I said several months back the streams are going to be a little bit more random, and this is a part of that. So what's up, John Oliver? How you doing? Hopefully his visit to the G League. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Ron Holland. Let's get the the Odd Soul poll. Let's get it up. Ron Holland signs with Arkansas. I don't know why. Hang on. Signs with Arkansas, ? Yes or no? There you go. There's our Odd Soul poll. So feel free to take that. Tony Brown says this whole situation is confusing. Brother, you're not wrong. It is. This has been kind of a wild ride. The Ron Holland show has been absolutely nuts. It's been crazy. It really has. So there you go. All right. There's our Odd Soul poll. Ron Holland signs with Arkansas, ? We already got that up and rolling, huh? Okay. Hang on. Get some more shares out here. Get the shares out. Appreciate Jackson Johnson. Check out Let's Talk with Ty. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. For the retweet, sir. So I guess the question is, when do we get an official announcement? From what I understand, this time of year, I mean, we know what's going on. he's got stuff going on. He's got RL stuff going on. He may wait a little while to verbally commit anywhere. We know that it's down between Arkansas and a G League team, the Ignite. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know when this guy is gonna make that change, when he makes that announcement. I have no idea, but it does sound like it's down between Arkansas and the G League. So Texas A&M is up on Tennessee right now. Would much rather face A&M. Yes. Yeah, I don't really. No, I don't. You know what? I don't know. It's a neutral site, so yeah. So Ron Holland, of course, a lot of you guys know he's a 5-star. I mean, listen, at this point, if you don't know who he is, you're just not a basketball fan, or you're just not really into recruiting. But Ron Holland is a 5-star, number 1 player in the state of Texas. Would arguably be one of the biggest gets for Eric Musselman. There's no doubt about that. 6'8", 195 pounds, according to 247. He's a 99 overall 5-star recruit. Again, that's according to 247. 247 composite. He's a 5-star. He's the number 2 player in the country. 247 has him as the unanimous, or they have him as the number 1, whether it's position, state, whatever. He's it, man. He's the number 1. He's the number 1 player in the country. And ever since he put his name in the portal, all we've heard is it's Arkansas or it's G League. And that's where we're at with it. Now, the other side of it, by the way, is out of Duncanville, Texas, also. The other side of this is, if I'm not mistaken, they're on, there's no contact or no in-person contact between coaches and players. If I'm not mistaken, it's a dead period. So there can be no in-person contact. Ron Holland can, and this is where it sucks, where I guess you're at kind of a disadvantage if you're Eric Musselman or any college coach trying to bring Ron Holland to your program. He can go to the G Leagues. He can go talk to anybody else. As long as they have nothing to do with the NCAA, he can talk to anybody else. Now, he can talk to Eric Musselman over the phone. I believe that's how that rule, which is so weird. Like, for someone, you imagine, for someone who's a big-time 5-star prospect, you're going to tell me that no one else is going to call him outside of Arkansas and whatever other schools. You know, Kentucky was in, obviously Texas was in the picture for a while. He committed and signed and all that. But you're going to tell me that Calipari's not going to call this guy? He's not going to try and make some room for the number 1 player in the country in this class? For a forward, for the 6'8", 200-pound forward? That's what I don't understand about. I mean, should it just be, if that is the rule, maybe I'm wrong, why isn't it just no contact at all? You know, I get, like, what really is, I mean, there is a significant difference between meeting a coach in person versus the phone call. I get it. But this also means you can receive text messaging, I believe. Again, these rules, it seem like for every sport, they change, and they're just kind of making it up as they go. It's just very bizarre. But here we are. And he's free. He's free to do as he pleases. And I hope what he does, and I would say this for any prospect, this if they reach this point, no matter if you're a 5-star, 3-star, or whatever, but if you're someone who's under this much pressure, man, go be a kid. Go to prom. Go be a kid. Go take some time off. You know, leave this in the rearview mirror for, like, I don't know, we got a holiday coming up. And whatever the deadline is, it is, right? There's nothing you can do about that. But go be a 17, 18-year-old kid, man. Go enjoy life for just a little bit, and then you get back to business. You know? He's not a CEO of a major corporation. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's not a coach. Just let him go be a kid. I also have to address something else about this. I know so many of you understand this. I'm going to have to text my dad after this and tell him I'm about to call you out. But he knows how I feel about this, and we've kind of talked about it here before. But this idea that it doesn't matter that you're going to pull someone, there's a possibility that you could pull someone like Ron Holland to your campus, but you say it doesn't really matter anyways because he's a one and done. I mean, there's been some pretty impactful one and done players. There's been some very impactful one and dones, obviously. We've seen them, right? All littered across college basketball. Let's not sit here and act like some of these teams that go on deep runs. Yeah, it really helps when we've got seniors and guys that have been around the program for a little while and they've played with that coach and those players. Like they have that camaraderie going over for years at a time, 2-3 years, whatever. But let's not sit here and act like we haven't seen some fantastic basketball and wild March Madness games that didn't include one and dones. Whether you're talking about for the health of your program or if you're just talking about the health of college basketball, I'm not a big fan of one and done. I'm not. I wish they, especially with NIL, with the way that it is, with the name, image, and likeliness, the fact that you can now cash in on that as you should have been able to anyways the whole time. This should help off balance some of that, and maybe in some places it has. But, you know, good old Arky56, God love him, all right? He's in chat every once in a while. He'll come back and watch this, and I'm sure he'll call or text me like, well, now, wait a minute. But he's not a fan of the one-and-dones, and he fully understands how big it is to get someone like Ron Holland, or how big it was when he got Walsh and Black and Nick Smith. Like, he understood that. And a lot of people do. But the idea that this has no impact or it doesn't really matter anyways, like, what are you kidding me? I mean, it's a big deal because it's a bigger step. All of a sudden, I don't know if you guys saw, we've seen some of these too early polls, and people have Arkansas floating around like 10th. I thought I saw one that had them outside the top 10. I can't remember. Please don't quote me on that. I might have seen that wrong. That might have been one of those, super fan podcasts, whatever. But Ron Holland tips the scales big time. Ron Holland tips the scales big time for Arkansas. Now you're talking about adding the number one player out of the state of Texas, a kid who, he's one and done, no doubt. I think, too, the Nick Smith stuff, the way it went down, the fact that Walsh, let's be real, fantastic defensive player who's getting a lot of buzz going into the NBA draft. He's someone, Ricky Council, of course, he's not a freshman. He wasn't a one and done, but, I mean, he's a one and done. When you consider, I mean, well, that's not right because he's not technically a one and done, but he's a transfer who came in and played at Arkansas 1 year and now he's going to move on, right? But technically, no, he's not a one and done. He's not a freshman. But I think some of what happened last year has really, I think fans combining that with just the idea of one and done, it just turns fans off like, oh, okay, yeah, great, we got Ron Holland. But and that I would say that those are the more casual people or people who are just already kind of done with college basketball that have that belief. One and done. Listen, Ron Holland would be huge. It tips the scales. It puts Arkansas. And I think you should be already with what they have, with what we know they have coming back. I know there's some other question marks about the rest of this roster, you know, with Devo and all this stuff. Like there are some really big questions that we're not gonna have the answers to. Well, we will here soon, real soon, but. I think Ron Holland, man, all of a sudden now you're like, all right, that's on the surface, on paper, that is a Final Four caliber team. I think they already are. Again, like I was saying, you know, even with all the question marks that they still have, and not that you have a lot, but the one or two question marks that you have, Arkansas's in good shape next year. With or without Ron Holland, by the way, even if you don't land Ron Holland. Now, there's another question to be had if you don't get Holland, and what about Devo, and what about all these other, all these other. Again, there's not a lot of question marks, but what about this spot here and that spot there, and what are we doing for outside of Brazil? What are we really doing down low, and what are the answers to some of these questions that have yet to be answered? We'll know more soon, but Ron Holland tips the scales, man. Again, 6'8", 195. Long arms. I mean, this guy is just big time. Big time. Adam Finkelstein, director of scouting at 247. I have this screenshot here. He has his evaluation. He's very athletic, not just vertically, but in the way he covers the floor, thrives in open court, can move laterally, and his speed. While the term versatile defender gets thrown around easily these days, Holland actually embodies it. Given that, along with his size and shooting potential, he has a chance to evolve into a modern-day big wing. I should finish that off. That is so coveted at the highest levels. His overall skill set needs to continue to develop, particularly as a handler, where he can be guilty of trying to do too much. But there is a foundation to build off of, even as a passer. He has to find a balance between competing with an edge and letting his emotions get the better of him. But when he's playing with the motor that he showed during FIBA this summer, he's extremely impactful. Again, that's Brandon Jenkins. Looks like this evaluation's from July 24th of last year. Again, that's Director of Scouting. This is from 247. So, yeah, today's a big day, man. It's a big day. Big day. Big day. Again, if you're just joining us, we have our Odd Soul poll up. Ron Holland signs with Arkansas. 78% of you right now say yes. 22% of you say no. I'm sure a lot of you, I say a lot of you, several of you probably feel like he's going to go G League. Listen, I don't know where I would vote on this, to be honest. I would say Arkansas because you don't need a release to go sign with a G League team. Am I wrong about that? Am I missing something? Yo, what's up, Dan Tanner? What's going on, man? Circle water's good, but man, these things are expensive. If you could find these on sale, again, it's just for those of you who are wondering, and no, they're not a sponsor, but this is what you pay for. This is what you're paying for right here. Let me just see that. let me just slide that back in there. Oh, there we go. That's what you're paying for. That's the flavor. Try Circles flavors. Free Ron Holland till it's backwards. Jordan Walsh for sure going to the NBA. Yeah. I was just watching your Kansas versus Arkansas postgame ready for football. Oh man. I don't remember. Was it good, Cade? Was it all right? It's kind of funny how some of those old videos I'll look at and I'm like, man, the views on some of these suck. And then 2 weeks later I'll look at them and they jump up, they get a pretty good little increase. And it's like they're outdated news. There must be something in there you guys are digging. Ron Holland free. Get Ron Holland and Devo back. We'll be preseason number 1, says Playboy. Bot Magnet says Walsh is staying. He made a video in a hog shirt. Yeah, there is a question of Walsh. I don't know, man. I've given up trying to read these kids' minds. I've given up, man. I'm done. What flavor is this? That's the one thing I don't like. They don't print. Some of them they do, and some of them they don't. They don't print what it tastes like. Strawberry kiwi, but I don't know. Do you have a favorite post game in the past year or so? Oh. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Tony. When I do post game shows, I like win or lose. I'm done with it. It's done. It's over with, right? it's not like I'm going to repost it anywhere. No, I think my favorite post game was probably Texas, if I could remember one. It's like even my edited content. If you ask me a video that I did a year ago, I'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? Did I do that? Did I say that? I forget. And I change my mind so frequently on things too. There's certain things, right? The pillars, if you will, the pillars that stick in my mind that, like the Nolan Richardson statue outside of Bud Walton. I'm concrete on that. I want him to have a statue outside of Bud Walton. Dave Van Horn. I know they named a pig after him, one of the statues, but give that man a life-like statue. Dave Van Horn is baseballs. That should have been my poll. Does Arkansas just say forget it and go 0 for 2 in the SEC tournament? Or should they? Should Arkansas baseball just go 0 for 2? There's an argument to be made there. There really is about, trying to just get out of that thing healthy. That's all you're concentrating on. You're trying to get out of that thing healthy. Even if we don't get Holland, we got to be good, says Balt Magnet. Yeah, I think, listen, again, there's still I don't want to speak on things that I just want to wait. You know what I mean? We're going to wait. There's some stuff I'm asked, like, why didn't you talk about this, Ty? Well, because I don't have a concrete opinion on that particular subject just yet, and I don't want to flap my gums too much and get myself into some kind of trouble. Go Hog says, 0-2, get healthy. Why not? Hey, make sure you guys are liking the content, like the video, share the content. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. We jumped up. I told you guys we just keep adding people, and it's great, man. It's great. And there's still like 40% of my audience. I think it's actually more than that come back, watch the content, but they don't create accounts, YouTube accounts, and subscribe. And listen, you do you, but man, it helps your boy out when you subscribe. It just does. Helps out big time. Those tricky algorithms. Bray Lewis, Jay, Will, and Joe constantly have Arkansas gear on their social media. Does that mean they're coming back too? Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. You're okay. I'll never forget the Chad Morris Fired live show, probably top tier stream you've done. I don't remember that. I don't even remember what happened. I really don't. I'm sure it was lit, man. I'm sure it was crazy. So, and by the way, this is all being reported by John Rothstein. We got to give the guy credit. He tweeted this out at 12:37 p.m. on May 23rd, 2023. Again, for the people. Listen, man, you watch stuff on a loop. If you're like me and it just plays the next video, I'll get videos from like 9 months ago. So I just want to throw the date out there. But yeah, that's from John Rothstein. Source, former Texas commit Ron Holland, will visit G League Ignite today in Las Vegas. One of the top players in the 2023 class, if not the top player. Holland was officially released from his NLI. That's big, man. That's big. We've also got, of course, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They offer same-day repairs, affordable outcomes, better than best results, hundreds of five-star reviews. Give them a call, 501-244-3667. Locally owned. My man, Travis Ford. Locally owned. He built this company up from the ground up, man. And you see those fancy, gorgeous trucks they drive around in. Give them a call, 501-244-3667. If you live in Central Arkansas or in Northwest Arkansas. Same-day services, man. Free estimates. They'll come out and look. It never hurts to just give them a call. It doesn't hurt at all. Recommend them to a neighbor. We have on Discord, we have pictures of some of their work, and I'm going to tell you something. It's pretty nice. It's good stuff, man. I'm stoked about football, bro. I am too, bro. Yeah, this week, I don't know if I would expect any edited content, but I did want to do something on transfers, but I've noticed more and more people are talking about the portal this week. I mean, I get it. Everybody is. It's a big week. Arkansas still got a couple spots. They got a commitment, did they not? Or was that – no, that was baseball. Baseball got a commitment, right? Was that baseball? Someone help me out. There was some kind of – I saw that right as I was about to go live. Let me scroll up. Oh, I see. Yeah, Matt Jones from at Matt Jones ADG tweeted. We're going to talk about baseball here in just a second. Cody Adcock to get the start tomorrow. Arkansas. They play tomorrow. 5 o'clock. 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 5 o'clock I swear we had a baseball commit. It was baseball, says Austin. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, Arkansas gains commitment from, he's a JUCO kid. William Edmondson, he had a 454 batting average. Wow, 11 homers, 51 RBIs this year. Damn, son. Where them Cardinal haters at, by the way? Where y'all at? Huh? Y'all flapping your gums about how terrible they were. Now look at them. I know they lost. I think they lost yesterday, but they're kicking some ass and taking names. Go Cardinals, baby. Turn it around. Game 1 win tomorrow for my 40th birthday. I'll take it. John Oliver turns 40 tomorrow. Hey, man, happy birthday. Listen, we are going to do post-game content. I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to do post-game content for baseball or not, or for the SEC tournament. I don't know, but I know once regionals start, I will be doing post-game content for that. We will have some reactions. It'll be similar to last year's, We'll just go live and we'll have fun with it. It'll be fun. Now, I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to do post games for losses or not. I don't know. Proud D-backs fan here, so yeah, Cards hater. Oh man, happy birthday, John. I'm on the just get out of this SEC tournament healthy. That's where I'm at on it. Get out of this thing healthy. I expect Bomb to be rocking this postseason. There's all kinds of rumors. I saw D1. They have their projected regionals. And I think they have Arkansas as like a – hang on. Don't see – D1 baseball. Here we go. We know Arkansas dropped in the rankings. Oh, don't tell me they're hiding some stuff behind paywalls. Oh, Kendall Rogers. Tell me you didn't hide some stuff behind paywalls. I will say, navigating their website, I wanted to look at their projection. I've seen one where they have like TCU, Oregon State. I forget the other ones. I've seen one with Oklahoma coming to Fayetteville for the Fayetteville Regional. And I have listened to their podcast. It's really good. I recommend you guys go watch the D1 baseball podcast. Those guys, they do a really good job. Aaron Fitt and the boys, Kendall Rogers. Well, anyways, I can't find it. But I wanted to look at their projection, see who they have coming to Fayetteville. If you guys know it off the top of your head, feel free to tell me. Ryan Jones has projected 3 seed. Okay. D1 has us as the number 2 national seed. Another has us number 1. Says John Oliver. I keep seeing us in a region with Texas or Oregon State. I'm not about that. Would bring too many bad memories. Well, Oregon State would be revenge, even though that whole, obviously that team is gone and it's kind of like a, whatever. But I'm a revenge kind of guy. I still want revenge on Louisiana Monroe in 2012 when in football. I'm talking football. When they beat us. Of course, Arkansas was without Petrino. We know the whole John L. It was just oh my God, it was a fiasco. 2012 was nuts. It was a bad year. It was a big bad joke. But Louisiana Monroe beat Arkansas, and I want revenge for that game. I want revenge on North Texas. I don't handle to certain teams you feel like you should beat no matter what the situation is. Oregon State's different. That was for College World. That was for the whole thing. I get it, but I still want revenge. Bring them on. Bring them on. Bring on Texas and Oklahoma. Hell, didn't we go to Oklahoma in like 2009 and beat them, take their regional? Wasn't that 2009 when we did that? 2010? John L. or Morris, who's worse? Oh, God. That's a horrible. I don't know. That's bad. Those are bad. Ryan Jones says D1's latest projections have us as 3rd overall seed. Okay. In a regional with Indiana, Oklahoma, and Maine. That's it. Would be matched up against 14 against Bama's region. Okay. I was revenge on Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky was a blessing in disguise, though, wasn't it? At least John L. wanted the fans to smile. I think he was talking to the media, wasn't he? Wasn't he mad at the media? If you're just joining us, remember to like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, please do all that stuff. If you're old here, do all that stuff. Ron Holland is the headline today. We are talking about Ron Holland for just a minute. All right, we already have quite a bit. Ron Holland is free. I'm telling you, I hope he lives his best life for the next however long and then make that announcement that he's going to be a Razorback. I think he ends up coming to Arkansas. It just feels, to an extent, maybe too good to be true, but at the same time, like, we thought the same thing about Anthony Black. I can remember saying in live shows, telling you guys, in fact, I think Tony Brown was the one asking, and a couple other people, like, Ty, what's your thoughts on Black? And I would say, yeah, I just don't think he's coming. We haven't heard anything, and for a long period of time, we didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden it became realistic, and all of a sudden now you've got all these McDonald's All-Americans. Who would have thought that last year would happen the way that it did? Now, the end result wasn't, it wasn't exactly how we thought it would end up. I mean, if you would have told me with that group they wouldn't advance the Elite Eight. I mean, listen, getting to the Sweet 16 is great, man. To even project Arkansas as a Sweet 16 team, or anybody for that matter, that's a pretty good team. That's a really good team. Really good teams make it to the Sweet 16. Really, really good teams that know how to advance, they know how to advance, they know how to play in the month of March. That's the expectation with Musselman, though, isn't it? It's just the expectation. He knows how to manage March. But still, had you told me with that bunch, yeah, but they're only going to make it to the Sweet 16. Had I come on here and told you guys that, you guys would have been like, no way in hell, Ty. That's a Final Four, at worst, Elite Eight team. And, of course, Nick Smith out for a really long period of time. You had other injuries that you were dealing with. You never know how things are going to pan out, but all that did feel too good to be true, and it happened in terms of who you signed, who you got to come to Fayetteville and ultimately sign. It's not out. I mean, this is the expectations at Arkansas now. Like you're going to recruit at a high level out of the portal and out of high school. Even if the portal didn't exist, that's a good question that people I've been in group text messages, people talking about that very topic. If the portal didn't exist, would Musselman still have the same kind of success? Now that's hard to say, but he would. Like if you're talking about on the floor, that's hard to say. But in high school, on paper, recruiting, no, he would crush it because that's what he does. He can recruit. He knows how to recruit these players. Knows how to bring them to Fayetteville. He knows how to get these guys to buy in out of high school. And he delivers, at least when it comes to the tournament. He delivers. Now, fans want more than just 3 straight Sweet 16s and back-to-back Elite Eights. They want more because the natural evolution of things is, well, okay, but you're only going to get better and better and better, right? Well, we're also not in the early 2000s or mid-2000s where that's what you were doing. You were building you remember when Mike said it would take, what did he say when he got hired? He told the crowd it's going to take a few years to build up the roster and all this and build up depth. We don't live in that age anymore. Thanks to the portal, thanks to NIL, getting players to stick around a little longer. We don't live in that era anymore. Like, it's now flip of a switch, right? And Musselman has delivered in terms of getting these guys here. And I would say that he's delivered postseason. But again, the natural evolution is, okay, well, we've done all this stuff. We've built up to where we think we should be. Now let's go win a national championship. Man, that is so hard to do. Unless you're a KU, I would say North Carolina, Duke. Unless you're one of those, like, it's just hard to do, man. To build up what they have and then to take that next leap into the what Nolan did, right? Nolan went to the Final Four before he won a national championship. It's just But at the same time, we don't live in that world anymore, though. We don't live in that world where you're building and building and building, and all of a sudden you've crossed over. No, thanks to the portal, things can change dramatically. But Musselman can get it done in either the portal or high school recruiting, and that's, man, you got to respect it. He's done a great job. Tremont Mark has withdrawn. Yeah, I saw that. Tremont Mark has withdrawn. Yeah, I actually had that in my notes. I was going to talk about that too. Tremont Mark has withdrawn from the draft and confirmed. Waiting on L. Ellis. Yeah, they're still. That's what I was alluding to earlier. Kind of waiting on these other pieces. See how they fall. I heard Cam Ball was at Georgia Youth Football Camp. Is that true? Where'd you hear that at, John? I don't know. Johnny Jones says Muss just needs to recruit some men. I did see the Tremont Mark news. Seems Adis Tony from 2 years ago. Now we wait on L. Ellis. Yeah, it's all kind of coming together. No messing with those. Kirk today, Ty. Well, I don't mess with Otis. I told him I wanted Celtics aren't getting in. I wanted Boston and Lakers. I wanted the Celtics and Lakers. That's what I wanted. Because it just feels like basketball. It just feels like the NBA when those two play each other in the finals. It feels right. History between those two teams. And it's not going to happen. It's going to be a boring finals. Yeah, we're still waiting on Grant Nelson news as well. I don't know, Swaggy. I don't know. Yeah, I wanted Boston too. Says go Hogs. Are you a Laker fan? What's your thoughts on all this new conference realignment talk? Looks like the ACC is about to implode on itself. Does that have any impact on us? I kind of wonder when the bits and pieces land from this whole debacle, and I saw too an article, and I didn't get a chance to read it. The Big Ten TV contract. A lot of people think that they've kind of sealed themselves into a corner. I don't understand what that's all about. I need to get caught up on that as well. I guess people believe that the Big Ten have kind of backed themselves into a corner, but their TV ratings are really good. So I don't know. I need to get caught up on that. The ACC stuff is fascinating. They're in a lot of trouble, and they're in a lot of trouble because their teams aren't delivering. Clemson had that uptick, and boy, anybody with a TV set was watching. Anybody who had access to the internet was streaming Clemson football. And Clemson basketball, even though I know we're talking TV ratings, it's not really fair to compare. It's apples and oranges. But the ACC's not delivering. They're not delivering. And it makes you kind of reassess where that whole situation's at with them. I don't know what's going to happen with the ACC, but it looks daunting. Do you want to add? I mean, if you're the SEC, do you want to add these teams that couldn't deliver within that conference? Do you want to? By the way, Miami, what do they add? What do they add to the equation? Anytime that team is good, I mean, come on, let's be real. Your ears prop up. Like, all right, what are they doing? Are they cheating? It's kind of how I feel about. In some ways, it's how I feel about like. And it's not fair because they seems like they've turned the corner yet again. But SMU's really good. But, they got in all that trouble in the 80s. That's not really fair. That's kind of a black cloud that just kind of hangs over them. And I don't think they've been in any kind of trouble since the 80s. Of course, we know that they basically didn't exist for a little while, more or less. And then they came back, and it's been kind of a slow build-up. But Miami, how many times have they gotten in trouble? How many times have we had some bullshit going on with Miami football program? Would you want to add them over here? And by the way, they're not what they once were. And neither is like a Virginia Tech. Right? I get why some of these programs left the Big East. You remember Louisville and who was it? Louisville, Miami, Rutgers were in the Big East for a while. That was a sinking ship, but what was crazy was they actually had some pretty high quality teams that were. I mean, hell, when Petrino was coaching there, Louisville was in the Big East, and they were relevant. Miami was, whatever. Who else was in that? Was West Virginia? West Virginia, I think, was in the Big East. And then it sank, right? I wouldn't have thought that. Had you told me that, 20 years ago, the Big East was going to sink, I thought that was a pretty sound. They weren't quite a Power 5, but they were certainly close. I mean, for a while there, I would think of the Big East when they had those programs I mentioned. I would consider that a Power 5 conference if we're going to sit here. If you're going to sit here and tell me that a Oklahoma, Texas, how do I say that? Oklahoma-less Texas, a Big 12 without the Oklahoma and Texas. If you're going to sit here and tell me that's a Power 5 conference, then that Big East conference, however many years ago, was a Power 5 conference. They were more deserving of that title than the Big 12 is once. And I may even make that argument with Oklahoma and Texas. What has Texas done? Bijan Robinson's gone, and he was a big piece to their success and to their turnaround the last couple of years. Oklahoma, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But, the last several years has just kind of been it's been a wild ride for everybody in what we consider the Power 5. The SEC is getting stronger, and everybody else is getting weaker. I don't know that I want anybody out of the ACC. I really don't. I don't know of anyone that really adds. I mean, we could talk about a Florida State. When you're talking basketball, of course, North Carolina and Duke. Oh, my God. Can you imagine that in the SEC? And are we going to do this thing, too, where, are they just all going to branch off and become independent? Is that what a bunch of those ACC schools are going to do? That whole thing is fascinating. I'm very curious to see what happens. Are they going to get bailed out? But they don't. What do they have to offer? Florida State looks like they've turned the corner, but then they've kind of been a lot of that staff. I say a lot. They've lost some key pieces to that team a year ago. Do we buy into the fact that they can turn it, that they can stay consistent? Has Florida State really been consistent since Jimbo Fisher? And, of course, when Jimbo left, it was a sinking ship. Florida State was not exactly a great program. He didn't leave it in the best of shape, and I kind of wonder if the same thing doesn't happen at Texas A&M. English ? What? Oh, okay. Once again, that must be Lincoln Riley screwed Oklahoma. Oh, he did. Going to take 2 to 3 years to rebuild, along with stepping up competition. Yeah, Oklahoma's walking into a very fascinating situation. Texas is at least – you feel like they're taking the right steps. They're going to always recruit at a high level. You wonder, too, how does all this affect Texas A&M? One of the biggest advantages, talking about, the Big 12 and their whole situation, one of the biggest advantages for A&M was that they were the only school in the state of Texas that was in the SEC. All of a sudden, their recruiting goes from maybe top 25, top 20. They had some pretty good recruiting years before the SEC, to then they just catapult into the top 5, top 3, top 5, depending on the recruiting website. Yeah, this whole situation with the ACC is going to be interesting to watch. I didn't realize that I didn't know that was going to get brought up today, but yeah, it seems like it's the SEC, the Big Ten, and then everybody else. And the SEC is only getting stronger and stronger. We are, and I've been saying this for years now, we are walking towards a North versus South, two major conferences. It's just going to be a giant. 2 big divisions, that's it, or 2 big conferences, and that's it. The pack is going to fall wherever. Maybe some of those schools go independent. I don't know. What do you really have to gain from being independent? Well, you can kind of make your schedule up as you go. But if you're not playing big marquee games, then what kind of value? And you're not winning those games, by the way. Then what kind of value do you really add, right? And that's what all this is about when you're talking about these deals that are being made with these, with these streaming companies. As an Oklahoma State alum, I would love to get them into the SEC. Oh, Oklahoma State? Yeah, not a chance. I just don't think there's a chance. Their market is relatively small. Their fan base, I mean, I get it. They're very similar to Arkansas in a lot of ways. Their fans are hardcore. I think their fan base is relatively small. and their market is relatively small. And, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see it ever happening. I really don't. And that sucks for them because they're going to be in the Big 12, which I don't think is Power 5 football. It's just not. And that sucks for them. They deserve better. I mean, because they have been a very competitive team in all three sports over the years. They really have. Gundy's done an incredible job. I really like Gundy at Oklahoma State. Let's see. There has to be a deal between the Pac-12 and the Big 12. They'll both be gone if they don't converge. Yeah, that's kind of the thought, isn't it? Like, you're going to have those teams all just out on the West Coast, and then maybe we have the same thing on the East Coast where the ACC teams are. Maybe we do have 4 conferences, super conferences, but what do these teams on the coast offer? I mean, even though USC has, they got Lincoln Riley and things seem to be headed in the right direction for them, do you buy that USC could have competed or could compete in a playoff setting? I don't know. Georgia and Alabama would beat the hell out of them. But I would love to see it. Listen, we're getting a playoff expansion. That's going to play a really big role, too, in all this. The playoff expansion is going to play a really big role. And I kind of wonder if we don't, we're going to see all this. We're going to see a lot of change. I'll just say that over the next 2 or 3 years. Hey, and then we got good news about the last thing. I'm gonna cut off the show here after this. Did we talk about this on the last? I don't think we did. The NCAA football coming back. Did we? I feel like we talked about this. Maybe we didn't. But we got that coming back. We did talk about this because someone mentioned in chat, that was Haas. John Haas mentioned this, that it was it's a major recruiting tool and that Notre Dame was going to lose out. Okay, we did talk about this. Now it's coming back to me now. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be big. For the first time ever that I can recall, you're going to have 17, 18-year-old kids with their NIL in a video game, like in a sports video game. I don't know that we've ever seen this. We've never seen this before, right? There's never been a game. Like you could make your schedules, right? You could customize your schedules. You've always been able to do that. But like from the company, they're going to scan these kids' faces. That is going to play a role. Now, I don't know that it's like a major loss for a team like Notre Dame to not be involved, and there were some other schools. So saying all that to say, starting this year, starting in 2024 rather, it's going to be college football is going to be it's going to have a different look. We're going to see some expansions. I think we're going to see some more moves from some more programs. I don't know what's going on with the ACC, what's going on between the Pac and the Big 12, what's going on with does the SEC expand? A lot of rumors that in the next few years that's going to happen. But next year it kind of feels like the catalyst to this all is, what's happening with the ACC. Are they going to go broke? Are they going to break up? How many of those teams join the SEC? You could also argue the SEC would be crazy to overlook, like, Miami, Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Duke, all those programs in one way or another, whether it's football or basketball, and to some degree baseball too. Boy, could you imagine? Well, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Arkansas playing like Florida State. Those are 2 storied programs. Somewhat similar postseason. I think they have double the amount of College World Series appearances, but they have no national championship. But they are a very relevant baseball program. That would be a fun series to watch, Arkansas and Florida State. Florida State would bring, I think, a lot of value in at least football or football and baseball. North Carolina clearly with basketball. It's going to be interesting. So it's not just football; it's college athletics. The next couple of years are going to get wild. We thought the NIL and instant eligibility out of the transfer portal was going to change football, and it has. It has dramatically changed college football or college athletics. Maybe that was the catalyst. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's where it all began. Man, I tell you, I don't know if it's for better or for worse. I know some people are going to argue it's for worse. I think the transfer portal and the NIL stuff, I think Arkansas's benefited. So is it a net positive or a net negative? I don't know. I still play NCAA football all the time. Do you play Revamped, Ryan? Because it is worth it. It holds up so well. Mechanics are arguably better than today's games. Boy, Madden. It has definitely benefited Arkansas, no doubt about it, says John. I think it's been a net positive for Arkansas. I can't speak for the rest of college athletics. I can't speak to how the portal has worked for the group of 5 schools. Some have benefited, some haven't. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to say this. I'm going to leak this much out. There's some more content that I want to do, and I want to focus on teams we're not talking enough about out of Power 5. One of them is SMU, and who their head coach is. You guys keep an eye on SMU. Like I'm gonna root for SMU. I'm gonna root for SMU. I really like what's going on there. Not everything went according to plan last year, but holy crap, the work they've done in the portal in the last couple of years. Who's coaching them? There's some Arkansas connections there. Keep an eye on SMU, man. That's my I want to do a whole video on what's going on. I want to build them. Talking about NCAA football, I want to go back on Revamped and build them from the ground, like with what they have now, and then kind of build on that and work that dynasty out 5 or 10 years. It's fascinating stuff, man. I love it, though, man. This is why I do what I do. I love talking about all this stuff. It's so fascinating. A lot of things happening. A lot of change coming at us. Not all of it good. Like going back to the one-and-done topic, I was talking about my dad's not a big fan of it. I agree with him. It's not necessarily that's not necessarily a net positive for college basketball, but some teams have made it work, and if there's any program that can make it work, I think it's Arkansas, and I think Eric Musselman's the guy to do that. Last year didn't go according to plan, but I think losing Brazil and Nick Smith played a big role in that. But all this to say, the college athletics landscape in the next couple of years, you're going to start to see even more. I don't want to say like catastrophic changes because that's a little too dramatic, but you're going to see some really big changes over the next few years. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. SMU has a history of SEC caliber coaches, right? I'll see myself out. That's it right there, man. Hey. Oh, will they ever, are they going to live that part down? Or is it worse that Arkansas hired the guy? I don't know. That's pretty good. I'm telling you, though, things have changed over there. Even after Chad, things changed. But, man, they're doing something right. All right, that's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Ron Holland, we'll wait and see, of course, if we get an announcement. Assuming I'm available, you bet your ass I'm going to cover it. I'm going to be all over it, man. This is good stuff. It's worse that an interim AD was allowed to make that hire. Oh, God, we could just all right, I know. That's a whole other – what that is a Discord – that's a Tuss Talk with Ty Discord conversation. We need to do another wheel spin. If enough people want to do it, I'll do another wheel spin. We'll give away some Tuss Talk with Ty Discord XP. And that'd be a fun conversation. This Thursday night, this is the final announcement. I meant to say this earlier, and I didn't bring them in here. But Mountain Dew released their new spiked Baja drink set. The only flavor I've had is the Baja Blast. It's okay. Ice cold, it's okay. But I got a case, and I'm going to drink some Thursday night. I'll probably do that on a live show on Thursday, probably Thursday night. That'll be the second. Remember, I try to do 2 lives a week with hopefully if I can get some edited content out there this week. No promises. But we will. I'll try them right here live. We'll try these new spiked Mountain Dew drinks. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the watermelon that they have. It's not the Baja. It's just one of their original drinks of the spiked catalog, if you will. Watermelon's fantastic, but I will try out their new spiked Baja drinks Thursday night. So I'm looking forward to that. if everything goes according to plan, and it should. If not, then maybe we'll do that on Friday. But just make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification bell and all that good stuff, okay? And I'll try to keep you guys alerted on all the socials. So, all right. We'll see you guys then. I'm working on trying to get some edited content. I'm running into some issues here and there, but I'm hoping I can get something out to you guys this week. So, yeah. All right. We'll see you guys around.